Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to Dr. Mazna and my fellow friend. Today we will present about our research that is challenge and readiness in online English learning. A case study of degree student at UiTM Kota Baru. The COVID-19 pandemic has speed up the use of online learning in Malaysia, including at UiTM Kota Baru. While students have access to technology like the internet and device, this alone doesn't mean they will succeed. Their mental readiness such as motivation, confidence and enjoyment play a big role in how well they learn. Online platforms have kept education going, but they also show challenge in learning English online. For example, students at UiTM Kota Baru find online English class less engaging than face-to-face ones, which lead to lower satisfaction and participation. Over 90% of students at UiTM Kota Baru have the tools they need for online learning, like laptops and smartphones. But only 35 to 40% of them actively take part in online English classes. The main reason for this low participation are lack of motivation, low confidence and not enjoying the class as much as they would in person. This research has 4 research objectives. First, RO. It looks like at how much student enjoyment of online English class affect their attitude toward learning. Second, RO. It check how motivation influence their attitude. The third RO. It examine the role of self-confidence or self-efficiency in their learning. And finally, the fourth RO combines all three factors, enjoyment, motivation, and confidence to see how they together shape student attitude toward online English learning. Now we move to research question. First research question, RQ, is how does enjoyment affect student feelings about learning English online? Second RQ, how does motivation influence their attitude? The third RQ, how does their confidence in their own ability impact their learning? And the fourth RQ, which of these three factors, enjoyment, motivation or confidence, is the strongest predictor of how students feel about online English classes? This research is important for several groups. For students, it shows how their feelings affect their online learning and teach them better study habits. For researchers, it adds new information about online learning in rural university and studies student emotion. For educators and the university, it offers tips to improve online course and make them more enjoyable. For policymakers, it helps create better rules of online learning and highlights the needs for student support program. The study focused on degree students at UiTM Kota Baru who are taking English courses. It looked at 3 physiological factors. First, enjoyment. Second, motivation. And third, confidence. The research used online questionnaire sent through UiTM student network with at least 100 participants. However, the study is limited to UiTM Kota Baru and does not cover technical issues like internet problem. The study used 4 key terms. Persist enjoyment means how much students like their online English classes. Second, motivation refer to what drives them to attend this class. Next is self-efficiency, is their belief in their ability to succeed in online English course. And last but not least is attitude, describe their overall feeling positive or negative about learning English online?
Assalamualaikum. Next, we move to literature review. This research explores the philosophical readiness of degree students at University Technology Mara, Kota Baru for online English learning. While the university has continuously improved its digital infrastructure to support virtual learning, many students still face internal challenges. These non-technical difficulties are not about internet access or digital service, but rather about how mentally and emotionally prepared students are to engage with online learning platforms. Unlike most prior studies that focus heavily on external factors like infrastructure and digital literacy, this study shifts attention to physiological components such as perceived enjoyment, motivation, and self-efficiency. These elements directly influence student attitude and ultimately their actual use of online English learning system. Understanding this physiological aspect provide deeper insight into how to improve student engagement and success in digital language education. Okay, next we move to persist enjoyment. Persist enjoyment refer to the extent to which students find online English learning fun, engaging, and emotionally stimulating. Enjoyment play a crucial role in shaping how students interact with learning technologies. If students enjoy the experience, they are more likely to find the platform easy to use, even if it has limitation, and will be more inclined to continue using it. Enjoyment fosters intrinsic interest, reducing the feeling that learning is a burden. For UiTM Kota Baru student, platform that include interactive video, educational, game, discussion forum, and real-time collaboration tool help create an enjoyable learning atmosphere. This emotional engagement can result in stronger participation, lower dropout rate, and better academic performance, especially in language-based subjects like English. Okay, next we move to motivation. Motivation is one of the most important internal factors that affect how students behave in online learning. It refers to the personal reason that push students to keep learning and trying their best. This reason can come from inside the student, such as learning English because they find it interesting or enjoyable. It can also come from outside factors such as wanting to get good grade, pass the subject, or secure a good job in the future. Both types of motivation are important because they help students stay focused, manage their time well, complete their work on time, and even search for extra material to help them improve. At UiTM Kota Baru, online lessons that are meaningful, useful for student futures, and connected to real life situation can help keep students motivated and actively involved in their English learning. Next, we move to self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is the belief in one capability to successfully perform specific tasks. In this case, using digital tools to learn English, it influences how students approach online learning challenge, how much effort they invest, and how they respond to difficulties. Students with high self-efficacy feel students navigating online platform, participating in forum, and submitting assignment. They are also more resilient when facing technical or content-related obstacles. To enhance self-efficacy among UiTM students, institution can provide orientation program, step-by-step guide, peer monitoring, and technical support session. This initiative helps students gradually build confidence in their digital skill, use of online English learning platform, and better overall performance. Okay, next we move to attitude. Attitude reflects student overall feeling, whether positive or negative, about using technology in education. A positive attitude means that students see online English learning as helpful, effective, and worth their time and effort. This attitude is mostly shaped by two things: how helpful the online platform is in supporting their learning, and how easy it is to use. If students feel that the platform is too difficult to understand or doesn't really help them learn better, their attitude becomes negative and they are less likely to participate. At UiTM Kota Baru, improving student attitude can be done by designing user-friendly platform, ensuring stable system performance, and providing easy access to help and support. When students feel comfortable using the system and can clearly see how it benefits their learning, they are more likely to stay engaged and actively participate in online class. Okay, next we move to conceptual framework. The conceptual framework of this study is designed to illustrate the relationship between key physiological factor and student actual use of online English learning platform. The framework consists of three independent variables: perceived enjoyment, motivation, and self-efficacy, which are expected to influence. The dependent variable is attitude. Attitude, in turn, is believed to directly impact the actual use of online learning platform. Each connection in the framework is guided by specific hypotheses that test whether these variables significantly influence each other. For example, the framework proposed that a student who enjoy the learning experience is more likely to develop a positive attitude, which increase their likelihood of actively using the platform. This model allows the researcher to systematically assess how philological readiness translates into actual behavior engagement with online English education. Next, we move to hypothesis. Hypothesis development to test the relationship within the conceptual framework. The study introduced a series of hypotheses. Each philological factor is evaluated for its direct impact on student use of online English platform. The hypotheses are structured in both known and alternative form. For instance, H1 perceived enjoyment does not significantly influence the actual use of online English learning platform. H1 alternative, perceived enjoyment does significantly influence actual use. The same format applies to the other variable like H2 for motivation, H3 for self-efficacy, and H4 for attitude toward online English learning. These hypotheses allow for empirical testing to validate the framework and provide evidence-based conclusion. If support, the finding can inform UiTM and other educational institutions on how to develop more philological supportive online learning environment, especially in language education.
Good morning, everyone. I will be presenting Chapter 3, which focuses on the research methodology used in our study called Challenges and Readiness in Online English Learning, a case study of degree students at UiTM Kota Baru. So let's begin. There are 6 components that I will describe in this chapter. The first one is research design, target population, sampling technique, sample size and unit of analysis, data collection procedure, and lastly is research instrument. Next, I will present to you about research design. Our study used a quantitative research design, and the purpose is to examine the relationship between 3 psychological factors, which is the independent variable, perceived enjoyment, motivation, and self-efficacy. And for the dependent variable is students' attitudes toward online English learning. For the approach, we use a structured online questionnaire to collect measurable data at a single point in time. Next, I will present about target population. Our target population includes degree students at UiTM Kota Baru currently taking English language courses like ELC. These students were chosen because they are directly involved in online learning making their experience very relevant to the research. By focusing on them, we aim to better understand the challenges and readiness faced within our rural campus environment. So for our sampling technique, for our method, we use non-probability convenience sampling. This means participants were selected based on availability and willingness, using platforms like WhatsApp, Telegram, and email. Although it is practical and fast, this method has a limitation. Its limitation is the result may not be perfectly represent the entire student population. For sample size and unit of analysis, our study used a sample size of at least 100 degree students from UiTM Kota Baru. This number was chosen because it is large enough to ensure statistical reliability and validity in a quantitative analysis. The size allows us to perform correlation and regression analysis confidently while still being manageable for online distribution and follow-up. The unit of analysis in this study is the individual student. This means that each student response is a thread as a separate data point, reflecting their personal experience and perceptions of online English learning. For data collection procedure, data was collected using Google Form and the survey was distributed through WhatsApp groups, Telegram channels, and official email lists. To ensure better participation, we send reminder and clearly explain the study's purpose to the students. And for the data collection period, lasted about 2 weeks for us to collect the data. Next is research instrument. We use a structured questionnaire to collect our data. The type of instrument is quantitative, and its purpose is to measure psychological factors like enjoyment, motivation, self-efficacy, and student attitude towards online English learning. Next is instrument. The instrument is divided into 3 sections. Section A is for demographics, and the purpose for this section is to collect respondent backgrounds such as age, gender, program, and semester. The scales that I use are nominal and ordinal scales. For section B, focus on the independent variable, which is perceived enjoyment, motivation, and self-efficacy. And the last section is section C, measure the dependent variable, which is students' attitude toward online English learning, and all items use a 5-point Likert scale from strongly disagree to strongly agree, making the data easy to analyze.
Now we move to social demographic. The student participation include 108 students from UiTM Kota Baru with slightly more female, that is 54%, than males, that is 45%. Most students were between 21 and 23 years old, that is 57%, followed by those aged 24 until 26, that is 29%. A small number of the participants were younger, that is 18 until 20, that is 11%, or older, 27 years old, that is 1%. The student came from different courses, with BA 249 or 279 being the most common, that is 25%, followed by BA 242 or 272, that is 17%, and CDC S 241, 16%. In terms of semester distribution, most students were in their 6th semester, that is 25%, with the 5th 23% and the 4th 22%. Semester also well presented. Only a few were in their 1st semester, that is 1%.
Here we see the analysis for perceived enjoyment, which measures How much students enjoy using ChatGPT or DeepSeek for English writing? The first item, I like to use ChatGPT or DeepSeek for English writing, has a mean score of 3.75 and a standard deviation of 1.078. This suggests that most students generally agree with the statement, although some responses vary. The second item, I find it entertaining to learn English writing using ChatGPT or DeepSeek has a slightly higher mean of 3.82 and a standard deviation of 1.092. This indicates that students find this quite enjoyable and engaging. Overall, the result shows that students have positive feelings about using AI tools in their English learning process, which support the idea that enjoyment plays a strong role in shaping their learning attitude. Next is, this slide shows the central tendency result for the motivation variable, which focuses on student drive to use ChatGPT or DeepSeek. The statement I need to use ChatGPT or DeepSeek to improve my English language skill has the highest mean at 3.89, showing strong agreement and internal motivation. The second item, about improving academic achievement, has a mean of 3.8, which also reflects strong motivation to succeed. Two other items show external motivation, which is I use ChatGPT or DeepSeek because many friends use it and has a mean of 3.58. I use it because the instructor asked me to, has the mean of 3.47. This lower score suggests that students are more internally motivated than externally pressured. In short, the data reveals that most students use these tools because they genuinely want to improve, which is an encouraging sign for educators aiming to promote self-driven learning. Moving on to self-efficacy. This section looks at how confident participants feel in their knowledge and skills to use ChatGPT and DeepSeek effectively. Again, we have 108 participants. The first statement addresses whether users have sufficient knowledge to utilize the tools. The mean score was 3.61 with a standard deviation of 1.109. This shows moderate confidence with some variation in how informed participants feel. The second statement looked at their skills in using the tools. It had a slightly higher mean of 3.79 and a lower standard deviation of 0.986. This tells us that participants generally feel more confident in their practical skills and there's more agreement among them compared to the knowledge aspect. In summary, participants believe they can use ChatGPT and DeepSeek, especially in terms of applying their skills. However, there might still be a need for training or awareness, particularly to improve their knowledge about how this tool works. Now, let's begin by looking at the attitudes toward using ChatGPT and DeepSeek for English writing. This analysis is based on 108 participants and focuses on 3 key statements measuring their perception and interest. The first statement measured interest in using these tools. It received a mean score of 3.8 with a standard deviation of 1.166, indicating a generally positive interest but with some variation among responses. The second statement asked whether participants find this tool useful. This had the highest mean score of 3.94, showing that most participants see clear value and usefulness in using ChatGPT or DeepSeek for English writing. Finally, the third statement explored if participants perceive the use of such tool as a positive thing. The mean was 3.87, which again reflects a strong positive sentiment. So, overall, the result indicate that participants had hold a positive attitude towards using ChatGPT and DeepSeek. The tools are viewed as beneficial and useful, especially in improving writing tasks.
Now we move to descriptive analysis. The chart showed the DV element, that is attitude, with its 3 items of question. The study examined student attitude toward using AI tools like ChatGPT and DeepSeek for English writing. Most students, that is 37 out of 108 strongly agree that they were interested in using these tools, while 24 were neutral and 39 agreed. When asked if they found AI tool useful for English writing, 34 strongly agreed, 27 agreed, and another 27 were neutral. Only a few disagree or strongly disagree. Additionally, 27 students strongly believe that using AI for writing was a positive thing, while 20 agreed and 12 were neutral. A small number disagree or strongly disagree. Overall, the results show that many students have a positive view of AI tool for learning English.
So for analysis finding, reliability test, this table shows the reliability test result using Chromebox Alpha. All variables have alpha values above 0.70, indicating strong internal consistency, specifically perceived enjoyment 0.821, motivation 0.837, self-efficacy 0.803. The last one is attitude, 0.842. These values confirm that our questionnaire items reliable measure each construct. So next is correlations. This table displays the correlation between the independent variables and the dependent variable, which is attitude. We found that perceived enjoyment has a moderate positive correlation with attitude. R value is 0.556, and for motivation shows a stronger correlation, and its R value is 0.689. Lastly is for self-efficacy, also has a positive relationship, which R value is 0.615. All values are statistically significant and at the 0.01 level, meaning these results are reliable. So for this table shows the model summary from our multiple regression analysis. The R-square value is 0.621, meaning about 62.1% of the variation in students' attitude toward online English learning can be explained by perceived enjoyment, motivation, and self-efficacy. This is a strong result suggesting our model is a good predictor of student attitudes.
Next is the ANOVA table, which tests whether the regression model as a whole statistically significant. The key value here is the significant value or p-value. In our analysis, the p-value is less than 0.05, which means the relationship between readiness and challenge is statistically significant. This confirms that the model is valid and not a result of random chance. In simple terms, it tells us that student readiness meaningfully influences the level of challenge they face in online English learning. Lastly, we look at the coefficients table. This table provides details about the strength and direction of the relationship between the variables. The beta coefficient is negative, which indicates an inverse relationship between readiness and challenge. In other words, as student readiness increase, the challenge their experience decrease. Additionally, the p-value for readiness is also below 0.05, which further support that this variable significantly impact the challenge phase. This finding is important because it tells us that by improving student readiness, such as enhancing their digital skill, self-motivation, and access to learning tools, we can directly reduce the barriers they face in an online learning environment.
From the research that we did, we can conclude that three psychological factors play a big role in shaping students' attitude towards online English learning. These are perceived enjoyment, motivation, and self-efficacy. Out of the three, perceived enjoyment was found to be the most influential. This means that when the student enjoy using tools like ChatGPT or DeepSeek, they are more likely to have a positive attitude towards learning online English. Motivation was also an important factor. When students feel motivated to improve their skills or achieve better academic results, their attitude becomes more positive. Self-efficacy, which means confidence in using digital tools, had a slightly smaller effect but still contributed significantly. Together, these three factors explain about 58% of the differences in students' attitude. This shows how important it is for educators to create enjoyable, motivating, and confidence-building learning environment for students. Based on these findings, here are some recommendations to improve students' learning experiences and attitudes. First, we should make learning more enjoyable. Teachers can use interactive tools like videos, quizzes, and games. Peer activities such as virtual language clubs can also make learning more social and fun. Second, it's important to keep students motivated. Giving recognition through badges or digital rewards helps students feel appreciated, including tests that relate to real-life situations, such as mock interviews or job-related projects, also show students the value of learning English. Third, we need to build students' confidence. Many students may not be familiar with tools like ChatGPT. That's why training and clear instruction are important. Teachers can also start with simple activities and slowly increase difficulty so students don't feel overwhelmed. Last but not least, universities must provide strong support. This includes having user-friendly platforms, technical help desks, and counseling services. This digital literacy workshop should also be offered to that all students feel comfortable learning online. By focusing on these four areas, we can help students feel more prepared and positive about learning English in a digital environment.